When you get your worksheet, you need to turn it over, and right behind where it says SEJH, you're going to write your name and a class period number. We're going to start with the S, and I'm going to put my pencil on the vanishing point so that I can rotate the straight edge and make sure that I'm lined up with the vanishing point. I'm going to go to where it just barely touches the side of the S here and draw that line back. You're looking at all parts of the letters, so now I'm going to rotate it again and go to where it just barely touches the S on the top here. And we don't keep drawing it over here, we just stop when you hit the S. Rotate it again. Next thing that we need to do is this part of the S. So far this is what we have. We have two more spots that we need to do, and that's the two corners right here and one more. So that's what I have. Now we're going to move on to the E. I'm going to rotate until I hit the bottom corner. I'm going to go to this side so you can see what I'm doing. Rotate till I hit the bottom corner there. And the middle part of the E and the top part. Then I stop when I hit those. Now we're going to move on to the J. And this point happen to line up. I'm going to move on to the curved part down here to where it just goes underneath. And the top part. Now the H. Go to the bottom part of the H here so you can see what I'm doing. The next one. I go to this part of the H here. This part of the H here. And this part here. Okay, so now we've pulled lines from all of the parts that we need to pull them to the vanishing point. Your project should look like what mine does right here. So the next thing we're going to do is decide how deep we want these to be. So I'm going to put my straight edge on this guideline that's here. And I'm going to slide this down. I'm going to decide that I want mine to be this deep. So go ahead and draw your guideline, trying to make it approximately this deep as well, so that they look similar. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the S. We need a bottom for this, and since this is a curve, we're going to come down here and draw another curve just like this, where it's touching the guideline down here. So we're going to do the same thing right here. So you see how this and this are parallel? So this is the bottom for this, if it's an F-shaped box. Now, to measure this, you could use your fingernail. So I've got one fingernail on each, and I move that measurement up. I'm also going to show you, you can measure with your pencil. So if I turn my paper, and I set the end of my pencil on this line here, and my fingers where this line is, and I can move that measurement up and put my fingers where this line is and be able to mark, make a little mark where the bottom of that should be. So I'm going to put my straight edge on this line, slide it down, trying to keep it parallel, and draw a line between there and there. So those two are parallel. So the next part I need to do is right here. So I'm going to make a curved line like that, just in this space here. So for the rest of the S, I'm going to erase the lines that extend down here and the guideline that we don't need right anymore. So you'll be able to see that you've got a three-dimensional S. Now we're going to move on to the E, and the E happens to actually be done because we don't see the bottom of these areas because it's hidden behind, and this part is on the guideline here and it's already on the guideline here, so we can actually go ahead and erase around here. Now if I would have decided to set this guideline further up, we would have had to do something on these two spots, but since it's so deep, we don't have to do anything. So we're going to move on to the J. So we have this section that's curvy and it's hitting the guideline. We do the same thing down here. And I'm going to erase the lines that we don't need. Okay, now we need to measure again. So I'm going to turn my paper, set my fingernails on the pencil so it's there, and the pencil lead is at the bottom, and I'm going to move that measurement up here. And put my straight edge on this line, slide it back to the little mark that I just made. And there's the bottom of this top part of the J, so I can erase the extra. Okay, so the J is done. I'm going to move over to the H. I need a bottom for this one. Put my straight edge on this line, slide it back to this point right here. Draw a line straight up. This one here is on the guideline, so it's already done down here. See how we have these two lines making this corner here, and we have the same thing down here. So I'm going to go ahead and erase the extra. I accidentally erased a line I need, so I'm going to put it back in. Now if we follow over, we need to do this one first. Okay, so I'm going to put my straight edge on this line, slide it back to this point here, draw up. Then we need to do this one. It's going to be very small, but put my straight edge on that, slide it down to this point, and go across. So now you have a three-dimensional S, E, J, H. So what you need to do now is go to the final letters video, scroll through to the end where where I explain the coloring directions, and go ahead and start coloring your project in.